Family, friends, and strangers, welcome into the Whiskey Wasteland. Welcome back to the Whiskey Wasteland. Today, after a hellacious week, it's finally Friday. We're finally free. And I'm going to get a review on here. Yesterday, I was at a local drugstore. Just so happened to look behind the counter. And there it was. A great bourbon that has gone under a makeover of such in the last year. I did not get to try the small batch of this offering, but they have now turned this into a single barrel offering, and I believe I got a hell of a deal. I checked another pretty good chain, and it beat that price by $10. So anyway, we'll get into price point and all that later. Welcome back. If you are a first-time viewer, I'm sorry about the setup here. We're trying to move and things are just crazy. My name is Adam. Welcome to the Whiskey Wasteland. What we like to do here, we like to obviously review bourbon and whiskey. First, I will look at the color of this bourbon. I will look at I won't look at the nose. I will nose the bourbon. I will also obviously taste the bourbon, and then I will score the bourbon. That's how we do it here. Typically, I like to open bourbons that I have not tried. This is going to be one of them. I'm excited about that. So, let's get into it. We have, from the Jim Beam Distillery, a bottle of Baker's single barrel, and this is 8 years and 3 months, and it comes from date barreled 10/11. So October of 2011 this was barreled. It is serial number, I'll just let you all read that in case you're interested there, and if you can't read it, I will read it to you. It's serial number 002 89078, warehouse CL-Z, and it is a 107 proof, which by God is my sweet spot. So, a little backstory about Baker's. It is from the Jim Beam Distillery, a guy named Baker Beam, obviously. Baker's came out with his own bourbon, his own little recipe. So I would just like to kind of get into this. The bottle they did redo, like I said, and this was a small batch offering, but they have recently gone over or under, I guess, a facelift, a makeover, if you will, and have gone to the single barrel offering. Obviously, single barrels are aged. This one is at least a minimum. It says it right here, at least a minimum of 7 years. So you could get a very nice 8-year-old bourbon out of your Bookers if you look hard enough. Luckily, the place I found it was right up the street. I could have walked. Anyway, the bottle on this is inviting. It's got a nice silver cap. It's got a cork you can see, and then of course it's got the label right here, which is really cool. Then on the top, it's just plastic, but it looks really cool. It's got Baker single barrel on there, and just a nice chic bottle, if you will. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, just read the bottle. It says, "I spent a good deal of my life up at the Claremont, Kentucky distillery for a time. I even lived in a house right there on the grounds. This land has been home to Jim Beam spirits for nearly 100 years. Now, we make our special small batch bourbons here too, carrying on the legacy of fine handmade bourbon that's been a part of this family for 7 generations. I'm proud to have my name on a piece of that legacy, a single barrel bourbon, good enough to drink neat. Baker Beam." Bakers, Jim Beam Distillery. Let's get into this. I'm actually really excited to try this. I had this on my list to try before they went under the facelift, and I never got my hands on it. But I'm also happy that this is now a single barrel offering. So, and you know, I think this is a kind of a rarity now at the Whiskey Wasteland. I don't get to open much bourbon anymore and just share with you guys. So let's nice. So it's got a really interesting looking cap on it. It's pretty cool. This would make a great table piece if you were to shave this cap off, or this cork, and then just kind of like, I've seen people starting to make tables out of these tops. Not just these tops, but bourbon tops of their, pretty cool if you're into that kind of stuff. So we'll get out the Glencairn here. We'll pour us a good sip today, because it was a hellacious week. And when I say hellacious, I mean it. I don't say that much on here. Just poured this, and I'm getting heavy buttery smell. So color is pretty medium amber. It's like the apple juice color that I always talk about. So not too dark for an 8-year bourbon, which, okay, cool. Nose up front is that butter. It's got that real good buttery, not real heavy on the burn with the alcohol. It's almost like an apple, like a green apple. That's a beautiful nose. It's making my mouth water. Candied apples, green apple, sour green apple. Man, what a nose. It's not too complex, but it's different, because I don't get much green apple in a nose of a bourbon, but this one, that's all I really get. Going down deeper, you do get that alcohol, a little bit of the burn, but it's fresh. It's got a fresh note. Some vanilla, some caramel, of course. All right, let's damn it. Let's do this. Cheers, guys. Heavy mouthfeel, burn. It's got tongue burn. Sweet barrel. Heat for 107 proof. Lots of heat, but really strong, good finish. Heavy mouthfeel. I don't get much of the apple. There we go. So most people describe Jim Beam products as being nutty and kind of like, just like nutty. This one is that, but on steroids. It has a punch for 107 proof. And for those of you that know, that have watched this a while, I like my 100+ proofs. This bourbon right here, extremely consistent. It's not complex. You don't get a lot of characteristic flavors in this particular single barrel bourbon, this particular bottle. It is an 8 year, so you can taste that barrel char. It's delicious. It's just not superly complex as I was thinking it would be with the apple and the caramel and the vanilla, but it's good. It's good. So, I think my last review, what I recommended was to do a small sip, a medium sip, and a large sip. Let's try that. So on the small sip, you just get, it hits you in the tongue, and it lingers. It's a good finish, but it's a strong finish. A lot of oaky, strong barrel finish. Not a bad thing at all. I like that. I like that flavor. It punches you though. Medium. That's unbelievable how that hits your tongue. It's so spicy right now. If you can't tell, it's it's like a spice. Like when you eat spicy foods, it just keeps you salivating. And I know that sounds gross, but it's a good thing. If your bourbon makes you salivate, why would you drink anything else, right? It's delicious. It's got a heavy, heavy finish, but it's just not complex. It's just not, there's not a lot of flavors other than what I've named barrel char, your classic nuttiness on steroids. Excuse me, 107 proof. But it's good. Let's try a big, big drink because it's been a hellacious Friday. Whew. That has got some tongue burn on it. Wow. Tell you what, that'd be a hell of a winter drink right there. Drink that neat, it'll warm you straight up. It's got that good Kentucky hug going down, something I love. This one's good. This one's good. Bakers, obviously, I'm a huge fan of Jim Beam. Anything out of that distillery, I don't care what it is, even Jim Beam White Label, it's great. I think it's a great product. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about this Baker's right here. The Baker's single barrel. The 8 year and 3 month single barrel. It hits you. It's a strong punch. So if you are a beginner, novice bourbon drinker, not for you. This is for the really even the bookers. This is up there with the proofing of the bookers almost. It seems like the 120s and up. It's got the, it's just, it's different, but a great difference. Something I've actually never experienced in a bourbon. That made me just salivate. I don't know why, but it did. It's a great burn. Um, Not a heavy burn, not make you cry or anything. But on the tongue, like even now, it's just got a complete nuttiness that no other bourbon distillery has. Jim Beam is the nutty distillery, which everyone loves. If you don't love Jim Beam, you. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to score this an 89. I feel like that's a great score, of course. 89 out of 100, of course. Um, to me, it could have been a little less burny, a little less hot, spicy for the 107 proof. The Weller Antique is 107 proof, and this was so much hotter than that. I don't know how they do that, but okay. Um, I feel like an 89 out of 100 is still a really great score. I'd keep this on my shelf or my bar all the time. If I needed something really hot, if I was just wanting that punch, I would keep this on my bar at all times. I do recommend looking for bakers. Um, Price point. I never talked about price point. I got this for $48.99. $48.99. Do your research. This MSRP's or is suggested to sell for $60. I got it for $48.99. Value wise, it's way over 89 out of 100. Taste wise, it's 89 out of 100. It's got quite a bit of burn. It could not be an everyday sipper for me. Definitely not, because it's got a burn. But that's okay. Again, if I want that, I will get it. So, I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are doing your part, being heard. Obviously, we all need to stick together. We all need to stick together. And if I can get my voice across this way, I will. But we all need to stick together here. We're going through some hard times. And we all need to support each other. We all need to make sure we're taking care of each other. And just do our part. Don't be mean to each other. Don't. We're adults. Act like an adult. Stick together. And we'll get through our hard times. We will stand in our hard times, and we will fight through these hard times. That's all I have to say. Do your part. Stand up. Be heard. Be strong. Kind of like this bourbon, but in a completely different manner. This bourbon means nothing compared to what's going on in this world right now. And we all need to stick together. Until next time. By the way, make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment on what you would like me to review next. If I can get it, I'll do it. I'm taking all requests. I have a notebook. Well, it's on my phone, but I have a notebook page full of things that I would love to try, things that I'm going to try and review, of course, in the very near future. Guys, we've got to stick together again. Let's do this, okay? Let's be one. like, subscribe, comment. I also have a social media page um, through Instagram and through Facebook. You all should know it by now, my true followers. And here is to the weekend. Cheers from the Wasteland.